Hey Internet, welcome to Early Access. We are a cohesive friendship unit. I am your MC Chris, and I am here with Brian, Jeremy,
Yo,
and Jake.
Hey guys.
I swear to God, last week I promised I would not introduce Brian first because you guys sound lame in comparison. Anyways,
what I
Sorry,
want to
go
know
ahead.
is when Chris got a fucking promotion from host to MC.
It's my show, so when I
He
decide it's time
decided.
for a promotion,
He decided
I give myself a promotion. I felt it was
he's
time.
a self-promoter.
With the
Got a
good
100
corporate tax cut, Chris can do whatever he
100%
wants.
raise. 100% raise. Tax law is in our favor. We're here to talk about some video games, and we're going to start that with a little, what have you been playing? I'm going to go last. So, Jeremy, what have you been playing?
I played Nier Automata.
Hell yeah, man.
And
Let's
I
talk
beat it.
about it. Yeah. You
I beat it.
all of it.
Beat
You
it.
got all five core endings, yeah?
Yes, I got all 5 core endings, and I got like 6 of the joke endings. And there's a secret boss, so I guess spoilers. But I unlocked the secret boss, and I tried to beat the secret boss like 3 times, and it was just kicking my ass. And I was like, I'll move on with my life.
All right, talk it up. Talk about the game as a whole. Give it to me.
Well, I don't want to reiterate too much of what I said last time because I talked a little bit last time, but it's great. The mixed genre elements, I think, mostly come together really well. Mixing side-scrolling with top-down, bullet hell stuff, with hack and slash, with kind of side questy JRPG elements, with parts of the game where you're like quote-unquote hacking into robots that are basically asteroids. They even kind of control like asteroids. It's very floaty.
Wait, what? Wait, they're robots, but they're basically
No, you play
So
a game of asteroids.
the
It feels like
old
playing
school
asteroids.
arcade game asteroids. So you're an android, and you can like, as one of the characters, you can hack into the machines that you're fighting. And the little hacking games are you're a little triangle on a white screen, and you have to exactly. And you basically have to play a game of asteroids.
I get it. That's
It's cool.
When that happens, the soundtrack though, did you pick up on it
No,
since last week? Ah, damn it. Okay,
Does it change?
keep going. It
yeah,
does.
like really
It-
drastically. It's a totally different song, and then it fades into the song that you were doing before. Like I don't, it didn't impress me in the same way. I didn't think it was bad, but I wasn't like floored. I was like, oh, this is good. So,
What do
the
you do
endings
in
were
the game?
good. What's up?
What's the objective? Like what
That is
the
so
game?
impossible.
No, it's
I
not.
think
So,
Right, because
Okay,
like your
do it.
classic RPG, you're like you finish the main quest line, you do all the side quests, you become super awesome. Like what do you do in Nier Automata? Because it's not like a Skyrim, right?
no, it's more like a Fallout. In that it's pretty linear.
It's
So
pretty
not
linear, yeah.
It's not an open world RPG.
Okay.
It's really not even an RPG. It has strong RPG elements, but it's a pretty linear narrative driven kind of hack and slash adventure action game.
The world is big and quote unquote open, but
Not really.
It's small enough that you can run to any part of it within probably 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it
And
kind of like Dark Souls, how the world is technically open, but there's definitely like the path that you're supposed to kind of follow? I
That
know
sounds
most
right.
people haven't.
So yeah, I haven't played Dark Souls, but I wouldn't even say that. The world really isn't open. There are there's a huge amount of the world that is inaccessible. Like just areas that you can't go into. That there's like invisible walls.
Okay.
And they do it pretty slickly. But it's you do not have that much volition in what you do. It's mostly there's the main quest, and then there are probably 60 odd side quests that you can take on that kind of flesh out the kind of backstory of the world and some of the backstory of the characters and stuff like that. And I like RPGs, so I did a lot of the side quests. I did like 85% of them. Plus, I got an achievement. So,
Dope.
Yeah, but so it's narrative driven. You go through, you do as many side quests as you want. You beat the game once, which really isn't even beating the game. That's misleading, and it's really just kind of a.
It's a tutorial.
It's not a tutorial. It's fucking just one half of the game. Like, just fucking don't have your credits through the middle of the game, because
Fair enough.
you beat the game once as one character, then you beat the game another time as the other character, and then you start the game again from the same load file, and you basically start off halfway where you left off on your first run, though it's the same ending from the first two runs. And then you play your last run through, alternating between two characters. And then that's it. And then, so that's the main, those are endings A and B, quote unquote. And then you have a C ending. And then you replay the last level as the other character, and then you get their ending. And then some bizarre shit happens where you like fight the credits, and it gets kind of fourth wall breaky and meta.
So it's like Smash Bros.
A little.
Yes, that part
actually
is like Smash
pretty
Bros. Yeah,
comparable. Yeah, except it like
But, like,
further
deep.
breaks the wall. Yeah.
The credits fight back.
yeah, they do. They do fight.
They
back.
really. It's really hard.
It's really hard. I died a bunch of times.
On the credits.
credits.
Kills you
Yeah.
a bunch of times.
Yeah, I
It
probably
does.
went on too long about this. What specific?
So yeah, I have I think 2 to 3 very specific questions. One, when I finish this game, and then this is going to be harder for you because it took me like a few months to really appreciate it, but it really reminded me of like the equivalent of when you read, and I know you get assigned books in high school, but like when you read an assigned book in high school and you have that discussion about it, about like the themes and about what it's trying to get to the reader. I think this is one of the few times in gaming where that applies, where I could sit in a room with some pretty smart people and have a discussion about what the game was trying to tell me and what it means. Did that come across to you?
Yeah, and we talked about this a little, you and I.
Yeah, we did.
It definitely has themes. It has it touches on a variety of major themes, and does so, I think, in pretty well. It's pretty tactful. Like, it's not too on the nose. It's not too kind of blatant. It's done very tastefully and artfully. It's not particularly complex on the whole. I would say, like, it's not too particularly subtle. I did expect the story to go somewhere that it never really did. Like, I just was waiting for something more that never really happened. But it reminded me of like a good anime movie. I don't know. It's pretty great. I would recommend it.
So the other question I have
Yes.
is in our Game of the Year awards, I kind of said it was almost a must play. I said it was one of the better, if not, it was one of the better games that I played, and I assumed it was one of the best games of 2017. Did I overhype that?
No.
Do you think? No?
No, it's one of the best games I've played ever. I don't think
Nice.
it's probably as good as like BioShock, which I would consider to probably be the best game I've played ever.
I agree. Yeah.
And that's just from a pure gameplay point of view. In that the actual gameplay of BioShock is more fun. That is one of the criticisms I have of Nier, is that the combat, it's not bad, but it is very simple. It's basically you have 2 attacks and a dodge, and that's it. And then you
It
can
builds
also
a little bit, but yeah.
you can mix it up with, you have like with some specials that you can basically preload.
And I
you-
think they do a good job. They put the hacking in at the right time, and then they combine the two on the third playthrough, where they kind of, like, you're never super bored of hacking, and you're never super bored of the straight combat. At least that was
Yeah.
my take.
Yeah, and you can choose to hack or kill people.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's up to you, whatever you prefer. But it's still not particularly deep as compared to other games that I've played, which is fine. It was fun. And then there are the technical things, which I talked about last time, which were never resolved satisfactorily. The save system is just abysmal, really, really bad, in my opinion.
And the PC still hasn't been updated.
Yeah, the graphics
launch.
look like kind of crap on PC. Yeah, they're never going to fix them. You can't play it in full screen. You have to play it in windowed mode.
That's system dependent, but yeah. Like, I could play it in full screen, but there's a lot of complaints.
But you have a
that
4K monitor.
No, yes, yeah. So
You can't play it in 1080p. You can play it on 4K. You can't play it in 1080p
Yes.
full screen.
Yes.
That's absurd.
Yes. The compromise would be to play it in 900p, but fuck that.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not playing no fucking 900p in 2018.
All right. Any closing thoughts?
It's really good. If you like story-driven games, if you like artistic video games, not art games, but artistic games, I would definitely recommend it. If you like RPGs, I would definitely recommend it.
How much is it?
How much does it cost?
It goes on sale for
lot. I
about
don't know.
$20,
$30,
but it's probably $40 right now, not on sale.
Would you recommend this over Skyrim, over Fallout New Vegas? I think those are the recent games you played.
That's tough.
I know that's
it's a lot
comparing
newer.
two different types of games, but
No, that's kind of fair because they are all RPGs, sort of. Yeah, I think I probably would. That doesn't necessarily mean I like it better than New Vegas. I don't think I could recommend it over Skyrim because that's like a life experience. But
a religious experience, as Chris would say.
Yeah.
Wait, you're saying it's not a religious experience?
Nier or Skyrim?
Yes. No, Zelda. We're gonna get back to Jake.
Experience. Skyrim is a relationship-ending experience. Skyrim
That's very true.
It is true.
Yeah, it's a no daylight experience, which is why I probably couldn't recommend it over that. But
yeah.
But no, I would recommend it over many games. It's one of the best games I've played ever, so it's terrific.
Sweet. So I know Chris was alluded to Zelda. So moving on to
poor Brian. Brian's like anime and then fucking elves.
It's almost like you were talking about that. I was like, damn, this kind of sounds like a good game. And then you said it's almost like an anime movie.
No, so let me just clarify that for 1 second, because like Brian, I think even you would like it. You know what I mean? Like it's that good. It's that good.
Is it really that good?
It's not actually anime. It is fairly Japanese in the whole aesthetic. Like for no reason,
the concept and stuff, but like
the themes, the way that it deals with them, the overall tone, I would say, reminds me with the delicacy that it's done of some kind of anime films. But not. There's no Power Balls. There's no Dragon Ball Z Super Saiyan. There's none of that. But with the respect that it approaches an animated genre, which you don't, it's not as flashy as like some Western shit, and the gameplay is just good enough, and the story I think is good enough that it would carry pretty much anyone. I'm not a JRPG fan, and I still really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, my issue with it was, or not issue, for me the lowest point was the second playthrough. Would you agree? Gets a little redundant.
Yeah, but I didn't even mind it that much. Like, I still thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna move on to Brian.
Well, Jake had just started. We just circled back for a moment.
All right, Jake.
All right. So I dropped Warhammer Vermintide this week because as much fun as it is, it's really hard to find people to play with online, which is weird because they're coming out with the second one soon, but it's not out yet. So kind of surprised that there are not a lot of people online, but
yeah, that's weird.
Anyways, I got big into Zelda this week.
Hell yeah!
Played a ton of Zelda, and I know we've talked a bunch about it because obviously Chris runs the podcast. But
I'm hyped to talk to you about it since you're back in. Go ahead.
It's a fantastic game. I know Chris is like beating it about how good the game is, but
about how it's a religious experience.
It's amazing. So I'll just give like the quick, the highs, the not so goods, but I guess I'll start with the not so goods because those are easy. I hate with a passion the fact that my weapons break constantly. I don't understand why they chose to do that, and it drives me crazy. The amount of times where I've like fought a really hard enemy and then just run out of weapons is been quite a few times, at least 10 times. And it just is infuriating when you're like, well, crap, now I don't have any weapons. I guess I'm just going to have to leave now.
Doing those
So-
maybe test the strain.
Chris, your mic is a little off.
All right, I'll fix it. You keep
But besides that, which I think is probably the one really big downside, not like I wouldn't recommend it, but downside nonetheless. Besides that, the game is amazing. I've don't think I've ever played a game that really encourages exploring as much as it does, which is not what I was expecting, considering that on like first glance the world looks pretty empty. Because on the Switch, I imagine it's a lot harder to render tons of trees and all that stuff. So a lot of the game is just like open fields, well placed like trees and bushes and stuff, but it's mostly just kind of openness. But I don't think I've ever been so obsessed with just like, I wonder what's up this hill. I wonder what's in this little clump of trees. Is I feel like every time you go somewhere, you find something.
It really is amazing how big that world is too.
It is.
Like they could have chosen to make like a denser, smaller world, but I think they nailed it.
I like, so when you start out, you like unlock that first area on the bottom of the map.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to realize that there is like a significant portion of the map above you. I'm like trying to gesture and like show you guys with my hands. It's huge.
How's that going?
It's, I mean, I think I'm getting my point across, but yeah, so it's a huge world. And there's a surprising amount of stuff in it, despite the fact that it kind of looks empty from like an observer's perspective. But it really rewards exploring, which is amazing. And then the last thing I'm going to put on this is just the creativity that you could do with the game. Like, you could just do so much stuff. It's hard to describe without being able to like show you guys, but
With your hands.
with my hands. But it's just like, I was telling Chris this the other day. It was like, I was trying to sneak up on this group of like 5 enemies, which Zelda, it's almost like Dark Souls. You die extremely quickly if you're not careful, which is surprising. But I'm like, man, I gotta sneak up on these guys. I kind of want to drop in and just like smash them. It's like, there's no hills around here though. So like, all right, I'll start a fire. Fire will create an updraft. I'll hop on the updraft with my little glider thingy. I'll fly over there. I'll drop down. I'll smash him. And it worked. And I was like, damn, dude. Nintendo's got me.
Does the fire really create an updraft?
Yeah,
It
so
does,
there's
yeah.
like a
That's
ton of
awesome.
stuff you could do.
That's awesome.
I was fighting some giant, and I was running away because I was a little scared, and he just walked by and like ripped a tree out of the ground and threw it at me and killed me. I was like, oh, fucking bitch. I was pissed, but also that was awesome. I threw a bomb at one of the goblins, and they picked it up and threw it back at me.
Yeah, I even
You
saw that
asshole.
the few hours I played. That's really cool.
So I have a few questions for you. One, have you defeated a divine beast yet?
Yes,
Yes. Which one?
the elephant one.
Because Zelda is so fucking diverse, and you can beat it in any order you want. The elephant one. Okay, so Gerudo.
Yes.
So just the divine beasts are very unique in Zelda. What did you think of that experience? Like as a dungeon solving experience, what were your thoughts?
So the divine beasts are kind of similar to the shrines for people who haven't played. Shrines are kind of like a 1-2 puzzle experience, and then you kind of get through it and you get a little gem. The divine beasts are more like there's a handful of puzzles you have to solve before moving on to presumably a boss of some sort. And I got so stuck with the elephant, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're like, there was some clue about like, oh, you have to go over here to get the map of the beast, and then that like moves the trunk, which is key to solving one of the puzzles.
So yeah, just in general, like moving the thing around. How did that, like from a puzzle solving perspective, what did you think of that?
I honestly wasn't a fan of the divine beast. The shrines have been great. I think what I really didn't like about the Divine Beast is after playing like 20 hours of just being able to do whatever I want the way I want to do it, there was like really one way to solve the Divine Beast puzzles, which is kind of difficult to. It's a big change from the rest of the game where it's like you can kind of do this however you want.
You should watch a speed run because I just finished that Divine Beast today.
Yeah.
And yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, it's pretty dynamic. But what did you think of the boss? Because that was your first actual Zelda boss.
The boss was pretty good. There was only one issue where I was like, I think I'm doing the right thing, but I keep getting wrecked. And
that's the hardest boss, I think, personally.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, once I got past like the one thing that tripped me up, it was fine. I thought it was an enjoyable boss fight.
Okay.
So.
Cool.
I could definitely see why Zelda pretty much won Game of the Year across the board. It's an amazing game.
Nice. All right. Well, we're going to move. Damn, we're going to spend a lot of time on this. But this is a good week. I like this because I like what everyone's playing. Brian, what are you playing?
Well, in light of recent events, which we're not going to talk about, the value of Garlic Coin has dropped dramatically, and I've been switched over to back to Warplanes, and that's one of those games that I hadn't been playing it for a while, and I didn't think that I really missed it that much until I went back and actually played it. And for a freemium game, I think that's really saying something. I managed to get, I'm trying to start on another tech tree line, but I'm not really a huge fan of the planes so far. But I got a couple others that I'm looking at, and hopefully they're going to be expanding it soon. I think it's really time that they brought out some Regia Aeronautica planes, because that was, other than the Italian Navy, that was one of the only mechanized combat theaters that the Italians were actually reasonably successful in during World War II, and I think it would be really interesting to have some Italian planes in the game, because there's not a whole lot of attention that's given to the Italians in World War II. Not that I'm saying that fascism is the way to go, because it's certainly not the case, but it's interesting to see kind of the whole picture of what was actually going on at that time, I guess, filtered, of course, through an arcade style video game that removes pretty much all elements of realism.
The fascism.
And the the ideologies behind the
fascism and the
machines.
Yeah, right. It's kind of just about the machines, and that's what I like. So that's honestly, you guys have played a little Warships. I think I haven't played Warships or tanks in quite a while. I've just been playing Warplanes. It's something that honestly might be worth checking out. I know I've said that before, but they're quick battles. It's only a couple of minutes. Most of the player base is lower tiers right now, it seems, which is fine. I mean, I wish the player base was bigger. I think that the game deserves a bigger player base than it has. Wargaming's reputation, I guess, kind of precedes them a little bit. At least within their own community, because World of Tanks has just turned into a shit show at this point.
Yeah.
With the pay to win shit, it's not even fun anymore. But this hasn't been ruined by that yet, and it really reminds me of what Tanks used to be when I started playing it back in like 2012. So
I'm excited about planes. I think I'm probably gonna download it pretty soon.
Yeah, you would like
Check
it.
it out. It's the arcade thing kind of appeals to me.
Right, you don't really have to know that much about like flying a plane to actually do it and make it work. Like they make it easy enough but challenging enough.
Like every flight, not flight sim, but every like flight arcade thing that I've done, I've really enjoyed. So I think I'll probably check it out.
Well, you get the three-dimensional combat, that changes a lot.
Yeah, and like I mean, the ones that are sticking out to me are Battlefield 1. I mean,
That's
fucking,
got a flight element to it.
yeah, you can fly planes, dude.
I've been really interested in that since I saw that was coming out, because
Well,
again, it's kind of like a historical period that no one really pays
yeah.
attention to.
Well, you know what you can do if you ever want to try it. This is for everyone. You can pay $5 a month to do early access or EA access, Electronic Arts access on Origin, and it's $5 a month, and Battlefield 1's included. You can play it. Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3 have jets, but yeah, and you know, Star Fox and Star Wars Rogue Squadron, like all those games that I played when I was younger with flight elements, I really like. So I think I will try it for sure because, like you said, it's free.
Great. What do you get to lose? So.
Exactly. All right, you guys are.
Wait, hold on.
Oh,
what have
sorry.
you been playing, Chris? We didn't.
That's
hear
what I was gonna
you
say.
yet.
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay.
You guys have a little bit of a job because I'm going to talk about what I've been experiencing. You might have to do a little bit of interviewing if you guys have questions. I'm going to jump right in. Last week, I said I was getting a PS4 Pro. I got that PS4 Pro. I'm just going to give a little rundown of my experience, and like I'm going to try to be quick. I got the PS4 Pro, set it up, let it play. Initial impressions are, this is kind of upsetting. Nintendo is so much better. Like, they are killing it in the console experience. Let me just kind of give a 30-second description of what it's like to own a console that is not Nintendo and what it's like to not own a gaming PC. Because currently I have a PC, a PS Pro, or PS4 Pro, and a Switch. It's riddled with ads. The OS has ads in it. The shop is just covered in ads. It's just
Sony ads or just ads?
Mostly Sony ads, but if you can tell, like you'll see a Battlefront 2 ad or whatever, you can tell.
Okay, so video game ads.
Video game ads, yeah. Video game ads abundant. You hear that disk drive just spinning up all the time, which is fine because I like physical media, so I'm okay with hearing that. But it sounds like a goddamn jet engine. Then you have this like nonstop update experience, and that was partially me using the console for the first time. But there's two parts. There's that first time thing where you have to install all the updates, which is fine. But then there's that second part, which is every single game that you purchase on the PS4 has to be installed to the hard drive ultimately. And this is the same for the Xbox One. So basically, I'll buy a game on disc, I'll put the game in, and I'll have to wait like 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 minutes for it to actually install onto the hard drive. And that's just such a pain. Basically, my first night impression was half playing, half doing updates, tweaking settings, and doing ads. That's the other thing. The Pro is really cool. It offers a lot of benefits on those first-party games, but you have to do so much settings tweaking between my TV and me actually tweaking with the PS4 Pro. And I'm big into tech, I'm big into TVs, I'm big into displays, and I'm big into video games. It was so hard to get my 4K TV to do 4K output for the game that I wanted with HDR. It just took an unbelievable amount of time. It was like you had to do an update to get the 4K patch, and then you had to tweak your TV settings so that the PS4 could recognize that HDR was acceptable. It was just a huge mess.
So, I think one of the things that scare people away from the PC is the fact that it's constant. Like, you got to tweak the game so it works just right.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get a game and it doesn't work, and you got to troubleshoot and etc.
So I was just kind of about to conclude with that. Like, from a PC experience, PC is just so much, I dare say, easier. Like, they'll just take care of it for you. And
what?
Everything you just described, I've done on PC though.
Yeah, no, you do it on PC, but then you get a PS4 Pro and you're doing it way harder because it's a little bit more convoluted. Microsoft doesn't riddle their OS with ads. And obviously, you can buy a third-party desktop that will have like bloatware or whatever. But as much as you love or hate Windows, it's not filled with ads, and the settings, to me at least, and again, I'm a software programmer, so it's.
You almost said engineer.
I mean,
You gotta be
yeah,
careful about that.
Ooh.
I am technically a software engineer, but I'm not going to say that.
We're not gonna get.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that. It to me, it's personally easier to navigate Windows, but besides the point. Real quick, I'm going to compare the PS4 Pro to the Xbox One. Then I'm going to talk about some games I played real quick. The PS4 Pro to the Xbox One, I really wish the roles were reversed, because from what I've seen with the Xbox One, I would have much preferred an Xbox One. It comes down to the little things like how the PS4 Pro doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray drive, which makes no sense because Sony produces 4K Blu-ray drives. And I have a 4K TV. If I were to watch, or if I were to purchase physical media, I would purchase it in 4K at this point, but I can't. And that kind of sucks. There's a 5,200 RPM drive on the PS4 Pro. That is ridiculous to me.
That's rough.
It should be 7,200 RPM. The Xbox One 7,200 RPM. The Xbox One X has a 4K Blu-ray drive. These just seem like givens to me, and that really hurts. And finally, the performance. A lot of the first-party games that I've looked at do kind of checkerboard rendering, which looks really great. Xbox One X tends to trend towards 4K, but they will fall back on that checkerboard rendering. But it is a bummer that ultimately the PS4 Pro is probably about a 33% weaker than the One X. That being said, I've primarily played Horizon Zero Dawn with my PS4 Pro, and holy shit, Zelda is way better than Horizon Zero Dawn.
Whoa.
All you fuckers who said Horizon Zero Dawn is better, because they came out at the same time. They're both about protagonists fighting ancient advanced technology in a post-apocalyptic world. They're very similar. There's you can pair them up. They're very similar. Horizon Zero Dawn is no match for Zelda. I'll do a review on it. I'm about halfway through. We'll get to that later. But
Chris,
So
what do you
taking
think the
into
percent
account
chance that you're biased is?
Yeah, taking into account you're biased.
Entirely. If I wasn't biased at all, 0% bias, Zelda is a much better game. 100%. Horizon Zero Dawn is.
He's not biased.
No.
It's 100%.
No,
Good though.
I am biased, but Horizon Zero Dawn is very good. It is a good game. It has so many fucking problems that I cannot wait to review it. I mean, it's over an 8. It's over an 8. We'll go with that.
Better than Nier?
No, not better than Nier.
So
Honestly, it's like
not even the second best of the year.
Let me put it this way: my very initial, like when I was about halfway through, which I am now, and I was starting to even think about how I'd review the game, I was like, my first thought was, it's a very, very good Assassin's Creed game. Which, yeah, exactly. Were you gonna say something, Brian?
Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, well, no, Jake, go ahead. This is kind of like a high level, like.
We're going deep.
Okay.
We're
So
going
I haven't
deep,
heard.
dude. No,
I haven't heard much about like issues with Horizon. So what issues did you run into, Chris?
I'll do a I'll do an elevator pitch on issues, and we'll let Brian go. Again, I'm trying to glaze over this for later, but the game looks incredible until it doesn't, and then it looks terrible. The game plays very well until it doesn't, and then it's this janky mess of a game. And the game's story is extremely good until it falls apart, and that's ultimately what the issue is there's a lot of good ideas that never come to complete fruition, and the kind of like icing on the cake to all that is what this game is copycat of what's kind of been bogging this open world idea back for a long time that Zelda broke out of. This is a lot of icons on your minimap, a lot of things in your HUD, a lot of useless side quests that are uninteresting. And this is that to the max. It's executed perfectly, but it's executed within that very flawed frame. All right, Brent, what's up?
All right, so brainwave and then a question. The first thought that I had was there's really no reason. So the problem with consoles is that the PC can do pretty much everything that a console can do. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's really no reason that the consoles, other than economics of manufacturing the discs, need to stick with the standard CD size. What if they went to something larger, like maybe the size of a 45, that could store more data in combination with designing the system so that it's modular? Go back to what you were thinking about back in the 90s, where you can pull out the processor or the GPU and put in a new one as the technology advances, rather than having to buy a whole new system. That's one of the big problems with consoles, is they become obsolete so fast. Where you could keep upgrading a PC, you can't really keep upgrading a console. You're pretty much stuck with what you had at launch. So maybe if they kind of went away from the optical media that they've been sticking with, because I'm a big fan of physical media, like what you were saying, Chris. You know, there is something about the tactile element to it that adds something to the experience.
So
my question, I guess, would be related to that. Do you think that if there were some, not necessarily the improvements that I theorize, but if there were some improvements, is there something fundamentally about playing games on a console that recommends it over, that PC can't duplicate, that, you know, you can't really completely get on PC? Is there thing that
at the moment, and this is what kind of captured me to get a PS4 Pro, was it's software. If a company is making first party software and that software can sell you on the console, then you're going to buy it. I think that's a large reason why. I mean, Nintendo Switch, I think, is kind of an exception, but in general, I think that's why Nintendo's still around, because people like Zelda and people like Mario at the end of the day.
But so there is really nothing outside of the software control to recommend a console over.
Well, with the exception of the immediate present, where GPU prices are obscene and it makes no sense to buy or build a PC, yeah, I would agree with you. I really don't think that there is a good reason.
But you're missing, Chris. I'm trying to be like, there is a hope for physical media. There is a hope for something beyond
so I mean, on that note, I would really appreciate if so for example, when you buy Fallout 4 on PC now, because I did that fairly recently, you just get a game code in the case. You get a case with a code in it, and you download it. And that's partially because of the restriction of physical media, because they use the standard for PC gaming is still to use just regular ass DVDs. If they could move on to Blu-ray or high density Blu-ray, that would be great. But I think that medium is just so dead now that they've transcended that straight to digital. I see what you mean, though.
Because I think it's a lot of the same reason that, and I'll finish this quick because I know this is a super tangent, but I think it's a lot of the same reason that people like vinyl records. I mean, they sound a little bit better, but you're handling something. You're actually, there's a physical item that you're using and interacting with when you're listening to music. And I personally think it's kind of a shame that consoles are going the way they're going, when it seems like there's viable solutions that they could come up with.
I agree. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if the PS5 and Xbox 2 have no disc drive at all, or no physical medium way to go about things.
You might as well just buy a PC, unless you're really convinced that Microsoft's exclusives are that good.
Yeah, exactly. Well, forget about Microsoft. Anyways, we have to talk about some news, because it's been.
Oh wait, hold on. Do that one.
Anyways, we have to talk about some news.
Stop.
There we go.
And we're gonna start with, finally, 30 minutes in. We're going to talk about Nintendo, specifically Nintendo Labo.
Or is it Labo?
I believe it's Labo.
I've heard it's Labo, actually. So
Or is it Labo?
Because I think it's supposed to be Nintendo Laboratory.
Yes, we'll switch to Labo. About a week ago, when we were talking, or maybe 2 weeks ago, when we were talking about the unveiling of this, Brian made
they revealed their labels to everyone.
Exactly. Brian made a big point that the technology has a lot of promise, and it could really shine if they opened it up a little, a la like the Lego Storm. Jake, what's it called?
Mindstorms.
Mindstorm. Yes, Mindstorm. And it looks like we're already getting kind of close to that with the Labo Garage, which is essentially allowing you to reconfigure and generally configure Labo sets and custom sets using if statements, which is about it. I guess it's a programming term, but it's about as simple as it sounds, where you can say if X, then Y, and you can kind of modify that to your heart's content. Brian, how do you feel about this?
I love it. I think this is...
Is this what you were asking for?
Well, it's not quite what I was asking for, but I think it's sights of things to come. I think that they have a lot of capability with this, and from what I've seen, at least, they've brought the interaction with the programming and the actual software down to a level where it's simplistic enough that you can just pick it up and understand it.
Yeah, like kids can
right.
make these if statements without even knowing that they're making if statements.
Not that that's like a hugely novel thing. I mean, it's been Lego Mindstorms. It's been done before, but I think that that's a huge part of it. Having an interface with software that's not intimidating, that's easy to use. It helps to keep people interested in it. This really adds is sort of infinite replay value, because although you're looking at a fixed set of games or functions that you can do with this thing, the way that you can implement those functions is limitless. I really like that you can make your own stuff, that you can kind of just cut out a piece of cardboard and tape it to your Joy-Con and see what happens when you do whatever inputs with it. I think that the user-friendliness thing, though, really takes the cake for me. I mean, it looks like something that kids will be able to pick up, and they'll be able to say, hey, this is kind of cool stuff, I'm interested in this. And then that sparks an interest to want to learn more about it, learn more advanced stuff, learn how you can control more complicated systems. And I think that Nintendo could actually go a lot farther with this. A couple of weeks ago, I think I mentioned like a laser cutting service or something along those lines, where you would be able to draw something on your Switch or make a plan for something and then have them cut it out and send it to you. At this point, I think that seems like almost a logical next step, that they would have some sort of service to help people who have created something with this. And there's people right now, it seems really sort of like, why would you, that's not really that much of an advancement. There's people that have made the piano game into a guitar, and you can make little stuff with the RC car controls and all that. Like, why would you care about that? I think it's indicative of the potential that this actually has for Nintendo to move beyond something that's just effectively linear entertainment. I mean, no matter how many times you replay a video game, it's still fundamentally the same game at a base level.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a market that they're really poised to capitalize on. They're traditionally aimed at sort of the younger end of the market. I think this is right up their alley. I think that they've done a very good job with making it what actually not only want to play with, but would foster their interest in things like this: robotics, engineering, physics, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm 100%. I think this is a fantastic idea.
I tend to agree. I think it's a really solid step in the right direction. What do you, Jake and Jeremy? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I think when we last talked about this, we ended up with kind of agreeing that it would be cool if you could do something like this where you get to modify the games and kind of make your own stuff. So I'm extremely happy to see that they're doing that. I think the big lightning rod with this still stands that, like, why cardboard? Like, just why? Like, this would have been perfect if they had just been like, hey, Lego, you guys have Mindstorms. We're going to make it more into video games. Let's partner and just do Lego Labo.
So, Jake, what age group do you work with? Because you volunteer.
It's middle
robotics.
school, so that's like.
So, could you
teenagers.
could you see this working in like an elementary school level robotics club at all?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see this going like the Lego Mindstorms route. I think it's two different areas, one being like the creative educational side, one being the creative entertainment side. I think this is definitely geared towards like elementary school rather than middle school or high school. But I still think, like, I think it would have been good if they had chosen something other than cardboard. Because as fun as it sounds to like modify your games and stuff, the whole idea of like, yeah, you could tape more cardboard onto your cardboard, it's just like, this is ridiculous.
Well, just to interject a couple of points, I completely agree with you on the age bracket, and I think that that's a market that kind of hasn't been filled. You know, if you've worked with Mindstorms, it's too complex to understand for someone who's 8 or 9 years old. But you still want to be. Computers are part of our society. It's important for people to be technology literate, to understand how this works, and you want to be fostering that from as young of an age as you can. I think that this really fills a big gap with regards to that sort of getting people technology literate. It fills an age gap that hadn't been filled before. With regards to cardboard, I mean, cardboard, it's really available, and even if what you make doesn't work, you're learning something in the process. You're learning, okay, if I just tape a bunch of shit on this, like, it's not going to work properly because the tape's going to shake apart, or this or that or the other thing. You're learning by trial and error, which pretty much is been confirmed as the best way to learn. So, I think that when you consider the age bracket, the cardboard thing isn't as much of a problem. I think that the prices that they're charging are a little bit ridiculous, but they're not obscene. I think it's a good balance of cost and accessibility and allowing people to actually play with it on their own. Because you can find cardboard, you can find an X-Acto knife and some tape and just make something. Even if it doesn't work, you're still learning, okay, this doesn't actually work. I can't design something like this and have it do what I want it to do. I need to find out a different way to do this, or this isn't feasible. I can't do this with cardboard, so I'm going to have to scrap it. You see what I'm saying? It's part of educating kids in that whole thought process, I guess.
Yeah, I see that. I still think, I mean, I would be on board if it was not cardboard. As it stands, I'm a little more skeptical. I agree. It's definitely geared for kids. I think the cardboard is not suitable for elementary school kids, especially since it involves taping shit and cutting stuff and all that. So I would be on board if it was like Legos, but I like this change that Nintendo made.
All right, Jay, anything?
Yeah. Let me be a hater for a bit.
Hit it up.
So I think I'm a little more skeptical now than I was last time about the whole kind of Labo thing. But so just in regards to this particular kind of news update, I'm skeptical about how much it will actually let you do. From what I've read, we really don't know almost anything about Labo Garage yet. It's been described as rudimentary programming, but what it seems like, from the little bit of information I could find, is that you'll basically have your Switch, and you'll have, some squares on your screen, and you'll click one that says, like, when I push this button on my tablet, this remote will shake or do whatever it's going to do. So I'm skeptical about how much kind of latitude you're actually going to have with these things. Like, is the software for the piano going to let you make a piano and a guitar and a flute? Like, are those things really that different? That's kind of, I mean, it's still kind of cool, but I don't know. Like,
Well,
and then the other thing is,
at the end of the day.
it is, but I'm saying that's kind of the lens with which I think we still have to approach it.
Right,
Like,
I agree.
just because they're giving us an inch, I don't think we should be like, oh, it's free form. Like, it's still pretty rigid, it seems. We won't know until it's out, or until we get more info. And then the other thing is that I'm not really sure that this really teaches kids about programming. Like, is that programming?
It is.
I mean, I agree. I don't think
I push a button and then this does that. That's programming. Because if it is, I'm
fundamentally, yeah.
It's more programming than
I am
not.
a hacker genius.
You might be.
Well, for an 8-year-old, I mean, you have to consider who it's being sold to.
8-year-olds know that, like, when you set up a thing on your tablet that says I push a button and then it does that. Like, I don't think it's turning anyone into a computer scientist.
It's not, but it's getting kids interested.
Yeah, it generates interest.
Are kids not familiar with computers these days?
It's not that they're not, but it makes
It
the
brings it to a
interaction with
lower
them
level.
more personal. Yeah.
Brings it to a lower level.
I don't know. Maybe.
What you were saying about the functionality being limited, have you ever heard the description of the internet as being an infinite render farm? Have you ever heard?
No.
So I think it's a legitimate concept. It's the concept that if you put something out there for everybody to see, someone will eventually figure out how to hack it or use it in a way that you never thought possible, because you're dealing with so many people at once. So there's going to be hacks for this. There's going to be, even if there's not hacks, you're looking at, okay, I can make a controller vibrate, but what can I do with that vibration? What could do to make that interact with something physical? That's something that's you can't get from a video game. You can only get from something like this.
I guess, but and we'll see. Like, we'll see how much kids start to stick it to other shit and make that shit vibrate or make a tone.
Boom! XXX Nintendo Labo.
I was gonna say, I know you can deal with the vibrator.
But yeah, so that's kind of one aspect of it. And then lastly, like, I'm really not sure that this is going to be a big hit. I don't know that this is what kids want to be doing. Like, Technics already exist. Mindstormer already exists. That's not the hot shit on the streets. Kids are like, no, I want to fucking, like, have my eyes glaze over and play Mario Odyssey. Because I know kids are playing Mario Odyssey.
If you have a Nintendo, if you already have a Switch.
Yeah, but why do this when you can play Mario Odyssey?
Yeah, why not? It might be fun. You might learn something.
I'll probably be buying it.
Yeah, but that's what I think you will buy it.
Interested in this is like the only thing that's come out on the Switch that I'm interested in.
I think the 25-year-olds who
Right on.
already either have Switch or were thinking about getting a Switch for one reason or another, which I think already has a nostalgia component baked into it.
No
but I think this will be a big hit with people our age. I'm not sure that like 7 or 8-year-olds or 6-year-olds are going to be running around doing this.
Well, we'll see pretty soon. We'll see in 2 months. All right, we're gonna move on. We got 2 quick ones and then maybe a slightly longer one. The Sea of Thieves Alpha launched. It was developed. The game is developed by Rare, who you old timers will know for
used to make good games.
Yeah. Well, I think they still have potential.
Apparently still make good games.
The younger audience knows them for Kinect games. The older audience knows them for Banjo-Tooie, Kazooie, Donkey Kong Country, Perfect Dark, lots of very good second-party Nintendo games. The alpha came out for Sea of Thieves, and I guess it was fairly well received.
Yeah,
I
I'll just
know,
hop in because I know I put that up there, but it ended, I don't know, a couple days ago, maybe a week ago. And just from what I've heard, everyone loved it. It was a ton of
yeah,
fun with friends.
I have a couple friends at work who have been excited to get into the beta for months now, and they loved every minute of it. So, yeah,
Enough
that's
said.
good.
There you go.
Enough said. People are liking Sea of Thieves, hopefully, because besides that, State of Decay 2 and Crackdown 3, those are the only big exclusives, and those are all hardly big exclusives for Microsoft this year. So hopefully it performs well. Hopefully. All right.
All of a sudden, Chris is rooting for Microsoft.
I do
No,
have
I'm
one
not.
more thing to
I
add
just
on
want-
it,
Go ahead.
and that I've heard that the crossplay works flawlessly as well.
That's
You
awesome.
can crossplay between PC and Xbox, and it was just no issues from what I've heard. So that's
As it
exciting
should
to
be.
hear.
That is good. No, Jeremy, I'm just I don't want
I'm teasing.
Yeah, no, I mean I don't want anyone to lose, and I
Damn.
just think it's a damn shame that Microsoft has screwed themselves up as bad as they have. Yeah. Anyways, Paragon is shutting down, and Epic is going to refund everyone fully. Jake?
Yeah, so Paragon was like a kind of interesting twist on a MOBA that I think people enjoyed. I don't, from what I've heard, the player base was declining. The kind of article that they posted announcing this was essentially saying that it's not a dead game, but they just wanted to switch their focus to other things, like Fortnite, which is extremely successful. And long story short, they said they are really the ones that ended up shutting this down, not because it was failing, but because they wanted to shift focus. So they're going to refund everyone's copies of the game for full price, essentially no questions asked, which I think is unheard of. I think this is the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's I don't really know what to make of this.
I mean, like, the thing that always my mind just jumps to instantly is like all these. I know this is totally unrelated to video games, but like the smart thermostats that like you always hear like, oh yes, the support is getting shut down and they're gonna brick your nest and they're gonna just like totally shut down the service. It's like, wow, that sucks. I just spent a couple $100 on that and now it's dead. So
Yeah.
it's kind of cool to see a company that's like, hey, we're going to shut down something that you bought and we're really sorry, so here's your money back, even if you played it and enjoyed it.
That's the
pretty cool.
It's the here's your money back. I feel like maybe, I mean, I'm not saying they should or shouldn't do this, but I feel like they could be like, hey, thanks for your money. We have a new game coming out, or like here's some like crates in Fortnite or something.
Or a discount or something.
Or or a discount. It's just interesting that like they're essentially taking a full loss on this. Weird.
It's surprising.
Did it have loot boxes or something that they still made a buck off this, or?
Most likely. It was a MOBA,
Okay.
so probably.
Yeah, they probably
So they still generated some, revenue, but in terms of the
Yeah.
actual title, supposing that people do remember to get their refunds,
Yeah. Huh. Weird. Interesting. But there's more interesting news.
This one's for Brian.
Yeah, he'll be around. There was a Red Dead Redemption 2 leak, and this leak is apparently fairly legitimate based off of recently released screenshots on the game. So take these leaks with a grain of salt, but they seem fairly legitimate. The source that published them is fairly confident. It looks like there's going to be a Battle Royale mode for Red Dead Redemption 2, as well as a few other online modes, but the biggest being Battle Royale. A GTA 5 style online apartments feature where you can own your own tent in Red Dead Redemption. There's going to be
just a tent.
yeah, well, a tent as opposed to
Yeah,
an
you can like
apartment.
customize and stuff. And
Yeah,
It's a custom tent.
custom tent. You can have your friends over on your tent. There's going to be herb crafting, fishing, and horsemanship as side activities. That's not a huge surprise because it's Red Dead Redemption.
Herb crafting?
Yeah, you gotta craft
Yeah,
the
dude.
herb,
You
dude.
gotta craft some herbs.
that was
man.
the wording in the article, which I don't
And
know
the-
what herb
Goddamn.
crafting is.
The game is going to be playable in first person, which is also kind of GTA 5
First
on
person
the
multiplayer. Sorry,
Yeah,
throw that out there. It's just
well-
multiplayer is first person.
yeah, and GTA 5 on the Xbox and PS4 and PC experimented with this like first person mode. So that's not totally alien to Rockstar. But I think if we were to talk about anything, everything seems fairly mundane and normal. But the Battle Royale mode seems kind of interesting to
I
me.
think that's why the game got delayed.
Yeah.
They're like, we need to add Battle Royale.
That's fair.
I also
And
think that's why the first person mode's in there.
GTA 5 Online also has launched a Battle Royale mode. So maybe that was kind of like I agree, maybe that was kind of a pilot for
Yeah, because
Red
it's all
Dead
the
2.
same engine.
Exactly, yeah.
Brian, did you play the GTA 5 Battle Royale? Because I
I
can't remember
haven't.
it was hot
I have
garbage.
not. This is the first I've heard of it. I would expect it to be hot garbage. The thing about Rockstar is when they come out with something, they do it right, but it takes them a while to get it right.
They get there eventually.
No, dude, it's like baking bread. You gotta leave it in the oven for a while. If you take it out too early, it's gonna suck. And that's just how it is. You gotta give these things time. I'm sure they'll come out with a bitchin' Battle Royale mode within a couple of months.
Did anybody play the original Red Dead?
No.
It's on my list.
All right, I played it. It was very good. I think for me, this game appeals more to me than Grand Theft Auto, and I think I'm in the minority there. But
Well, Red Dead's got a really dedicated fan base.
it really does, and I think this was overdue. The Battle Royale, I mean, I don't really care. For games that are kind of designed to be single player, I feel like it doesn't really matter what you do with the multiplayer. At the end of the day, it's kind of going to be a bit of a throwaway. Like, you're going to play it a few times and then you're going to be over it, you know?
How would you get more than 2 people on a horse? That's my question.
That's true.
Like, is the equivalent of
Yeah.
of Jeep like a Conestoga wagon? Because you're not going to be going that fast.
They-
Dude, you get a fucking buggy, dude.
They don't have
You get a
vehicles
buggy.
in Fortnite Battle Royale, with the exception of the bus.
Yeah, but vehicles,
true.
like...
I know,
it
I
adds its
agree.
Where it's at.
game. It
I
adds
agree,
The
it's,
maps are a lot smaller.
Yeah,
I mean, 2 people can go on a horse.
yeah,
Yeah, but no more than... You couldn't put 3 people on a horse.
Well, so just imagine fucking Plunk Bat, but with just motorcycles.
and only Western.
Only the
800
revolver and
Yeah.
the fucking Winchester. And
That
that's
actually
it.
sounds pretty badass.
And a mounted
The
Gatling gun.
machetes and the...
That sounds
Yeah.
awesome.
Entirely unrelated to Red Dead, but the guys that make CryEngine are working on a new game called, I think it's called Hunt Showdown, which is like
Yes.
an old Western. I believe it's only 2 players, but kind of a twist on the Battle Royale. Looks interesting. Just throwing
it's
it
like-
out there.
It's PvP and PvE, I believe.
Yeah, which is
That's
like
like their-
the last time we discussed what would we want in a better PUBG. We're like, oh, zombies, PvE,
Yeah.
not broken.
I don't think I said I wanted zombies.
Well, no, like a
We wanted
PvE
stuff.
element. A PvE element.
I
well-
would still go with rocket launchers. I don't know what I could change my answer to RPGs or some sort of Russian anti-tank missile if you could, please.
Anyways, if I mean, I think I've kind of made my point clear. This all kind of seems par for the course, and I assume a lot of Battle Royale is going to be coming out this year. Do you guys have any additional thoughts where the Red Dead 2 leaks essentially are Battle Royale coming out. Instead of apartments via GTA Online, they're going to be tents and Red Dead, various crafting and fishing activities in first person. Does this to me, this just seems like kind of almost a given. It's not that exciting, but
I don't think any of
No,
it
it's
was
not
that
that.
surprising.
It's not really anything. It's not surprising, but
Yeah, it's not deflating either. It's just what it's expected.
yeah.
We all
But what's
expected
expected is pretty fucking good.
microtransactions. We all
What's
expected
that?
the online stuff. So
Yeah, apparently in a recent interview with the CEO of Take-Two, they admitted that they believe that they under monetized GTA Online, so expect to see a little bit more
I would,
monetization.
Which is absurd.
with the current definition of monetization is, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I would also tend to agree. All right. Anyways, that game comes out in October, and I'm sure we'll have more stories on it. Brian, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I got something to say. I don't know how many times I have to reel with you guys. You guys don't think that we don't appreciate, or you guys don't think that we appreciate your comments. Almost did a double negative there. I caught myself. But we want to hear from you guys. We want to hear from our viewers, because that's kind of why we're doing this whole thing. So if you got anything interesting that you want to put down in the comments, how about what you would like to see, where you would like to see Nintendo go with the Labo, that sort of whole concept. Let us know, because we want to hear back from you guys, and of course, as always, just remember to crush that motherfucking like button. It means a lot to us. Thanks.
Hey guys, smash
How'd I
that
do?
like. You did great. Smash that like. Let us know what you thought in the comments below. If anybody posts a Garlic Coin wallet, I will be sure to give you a Garlic
Yeah,
Coin.
that offer still stands.
That offer still stands.
yeah,
That-
no one
Nobody wants a
commented.
free garlic
yeah,
coin.
that coin is still up for grabs.
It's only worth about 30 cents as of this recording, but it's 30 cents you didn't have before, so
Exactly.
Yeah, we see you, that guy that downvoted. Try commenting next time. Get yourself a Garlic Coin.
French, but you're an asshole.
Well, have a good week. We'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.